Cobra! La, 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 la.
And that cell means it's the start of another Missal for the Masses. This is the Chaplain Systems Motorpod, and I'm your host, Gary. I'm doing a solo episode by myself today, just because I want to shake the cobwebs off. I want to get back in the groove. Got a couple big things coming up, and want to get this, let's say, house cleaning out of the way before getting to a vehicle review. Because here on the Chaplain Systems Motorpod, it is all about the vehicles, playsets, and even trailers of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero toy line from 1982 to the present day. And Casey and my schedules have still not synced up yet. Going to try to get that sorted out soon. But right now, just doing solo recording, like I said, getting back in the swing of things, and do a couple announcements. And the first one is I'm recording this for the intention of releasing this on Memorial Day, May 25th, because on May 26th is the latest Kickstarter from After Action Report, Greg Augustin, author of Cobra Command Files, Volume 3. So Command Files, Volume 3, Cobra. So, as part of the AAR team, got to announce it. Kickstarter is going to be live on Tuesday, May 26th in the United States. And if you keep traveling east, you might get into Wednesday. So for anybody on the Australian side of things, basically, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, it is going to be live either very shortly, if I can edit this in human time, or it will be live when I record, and that will only upset Josh. So Josh, I apologize in advance. But anyway, yes. So Chaplain Systems Motorpod back after Action Report, back with Kickstarter, because when they finish one Kickstarter, the Trivia and Activity book, TNA, by Josh Egbean and Gary Viola, that's me, we have another one coming soon. So in celebration of the Cobra Command Files, Volume 3, Command Files Volume 3, Cobra, I'm going to give away 2 or 3 signed Trivia and Activity books, signed by both Josh and myself. So if you are interested in a copy, we will do a random live drawing on YouTube. And so let's get those entries in by June 15th. You can respond to this podcast wherever you're listening to. You could contact me on social media at Chaplain Joe Pod, or you can send an email to chaplainjoepod@gmail.com just to put your hat in the ring. Right now, this is only for residents of the United States of America. So if you're outside the country, it's just going to be a little bit outside of the scope to ship it internationally. So apologies in advance. So I'm able to offer this to citizens of the United States and its territories. So if you would like a signed copy of G.I. Joe Trivia and Activity at TNA with Josh and my signatures, just put your hat in the ring by contacting me on social media at Chaplain Joe Pod or chaplainjoepod@gmail.com, and we'll do a live drawing. The entries need to be in by June 15th, and then shortly thereafter, I'll figure out a good time to do the live drawing, and then that'll be in social media after this is out. But by June 15th, get the hit, like I said, and then we'll do the drawing. And as many as I can give away, I will give away. I think there's like 2 or 3 that I have with Josh's signature. So that'll be the cool thing. So again, After Action Report, makers of such awesome books as TNA, Kickstarter live for Command Files Volume 3, Cobra. So that's one item out of the way. The second item out of the way before we get to our vehicle review is going to be Joe Fest. Yes, Joe Fest is upon us. Joe Fest is coming into the next 31 days. Yes, because May has 31 days. So 31 days to Joe Fest 2026, Augusta, Georgia. I will be there. I have a booth in the vestibule. I will most likely be sitting next to Podcast from the Pit in Casey, and you could say hi to us. I'm going to have a new t-shirt this year. I will have all my old t-shirts from previous years, and we're going to have a good time. So yes, in the vestibule with the Chaplain System More Pod, not only will you get to see podcasts from the pit, but Talking Joe's going to be there. We got Audible Interlude, Go Figure Action Force 2 podcast. It looks like Nev Drought and Ascalise. There'll also be Me TV, but just for everyone that's really interested in the vestibule, Rod Wiggum. And I did talk to Rod Wiggum, 9 years ago at Joe Fest 2017, back in the Pint. So early in the Pike days. So actually, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be Joe Fest is going to be huge. It's bigger than ever. Super 7's going to be there. A lot of friends are going to be there. Destro's Toy Den. So looking to catch up with all my friends. And, at this point, you can almost say they're family because the community is just that tight at Joe Fest. So, yeah, but the other cool thing about Joe Fest is I'm not flying. I'm driving down. In the interest of saving money, even with high gas prices, it's going to be cheaper for me to drive, and it might take me almost twice as long to get there, but it's going to cost me a quarter of the price. So I'm driving down, and because I drive a small SUV, that means I can bring stuff for room swaps. So I'm going to be bringing some cool stuff for room swaps, lobby swap, just to thin out this mess around me. It's not a good sign when you see tackle boxes of Joe's on my flag, display. I've just been so busy with just life in general, and going to be kind of forced to clean up in the next 31 days so I could stuff my little Nissan Rogue and make the trek down with t-shirts. But I'm planning on bringing some cool toys and even some, archival comic book stuff. Yes, I'm going to be bringing some one-of-one stuff to really, partly curate what I have. It's just there's a lot. And, a little bit of that, what sparks joy. I do find it cool to have every variation of Airtight, but it doesn't mean that I need to have, I don't know. I can't have two whales. That's one. I'm bringing a whale. I can't have two night ravens. I'm bringing a night raven, but it's just stuff like that. And, and then there's, just like I said, original comic book art. I love it. I've held on to it. Some of these pieces I've had over 10 years now. It's just, my home probably is. I'm done. What can I say? I'm done. I don't have it displayed in a place where I appreciate it as much, and that's a little bit on me. But it also tells me, like a couple of years ago when I brought all my straight arms, because they sat in a tub for 2 years at that point. I had the complete straight arm set. It's not what I want anymore. It isn't how I'm interacting with my Joe toys. And I would just rather have the swivel arms. So straight arm Zap, goodbye, and Mickey Mouse Coco, goodbye. Because I need my toys to be more than just in a box. I want to play with them. I want to have them circulating with my Camp Jellystone upstairs. I want to be able to put them on the flag. I want to just do other things with them. So I'm an open package guy. And that will bring us to, and with that, that is almost the perfect segue to tonight's vehicle focus. So what this vehicle focus has going for is, at my first Joe Fest, I picked this up. At my first Joe Fest, Casey mailed it to me. And now I'm finally getting around to a review. And we're going to switch cameras. Yes, that's right. And the Chaplain System Motor Pod has invested in infrastructure for the podcast. Yes, I invested in a different camera. So I just got to go over here and choose my other camera. Boom. So yes, so my first Joe Fest, I bought the Cobra Detonator. And yes, that is the original box for it. It is kind of water damaged. This is from a booth at GeoFest. He typically sets up on the wall closest to the vestibule, all the way in the corner. And he typically has all these, what better way, worse I could say is water damaged boxes, and they're sealed. And as you can see, there's some damage right here. We got the tears and stuff. And, it's a white box. It has the lasers, and we'll go into it a little bit, but just so you can see, yep, detonator. We're gonna switch it around. And then you got the back of the box. So just so you're aware, I'm not going to be just using that camera today. This is because the box is a little less than perfect. I know this website, 3D Joe's, brought to you by Carson Metaxas. So we got the Cobra Detonator, we got the box, so we can look at a pretty box, not my water damaged box. Obviously, we got, detonator, we got gray missiles firing off, you got the machine gun blowing up in the back. The vehicle is coming at you, so you're seeing from the front right isometric view. You got the 6 wheels. And let's just go around the box. It says G.I. Joe, and above it, a Cobra Command weapon, G.I. Joe Battle Corps. So Battle Corps in the 90s was the main line for G.I. Joe. This was basically the no action features, no frills group. It is the Detonator with Nitro Viper, long-range anti-aircraft assault vehicle. Air-powered launcher shoots 3 foam rockets. Exclusive includes Nitro Viper figure. And we're going to scroll up a little bit. We're going to get to the detonator back of the box. So we're getting to we get the line drawing of the detonator. Remember, this is one of those white cardboard boxes with the paper pasted on the front. So we get the rotating gunner's target seat, turns with AAK gun, double-barreled AAK, anti-aircraft gun, air-powered rocket blaster launching gantry. We got 3 long-range impact exploding ICBM rockets. Middle battle platform seats 2 Cobra figures. Front command cockpit holds 3 Cobra figures. Side-mounted double-barreled 50mm Dragonfire gun. Nitro Viper figure. 6 all-terrain puncture-proof monster tires. And then we got the copy on the back. Cobra lights up the sky in a blaze of rockets launched from the awesome attack vehicle, the fearsome Cobra Detonator. These giant rockets blast from the air-powered launcher aimed directly at G.I. Joe planes and base camps. The Cobra Detonator, with earth-shaking, sky-blasting action, spells big trouble for G.I. Joe on land and in the air. Air-powered launcher shoots 3 foam rockets. So important enclosed are top secret blueprints of an actual Cobra Detonator. Add them to your Cobra Command files. So that's the box here. And then, of course, we got the nice view of the Cobra Detonator scrolling around. So we're going to get to the Cobra Detonator in just a minute. But if you've listened to the podcast before, we start with the box. Then we go with the driver, if it came with one, and then we go into the driver's file card, and then we go to the blueprints, and then we talk about the toy itself. So now we're going to talk about the Nitro Viper figure. So the Nitro Viper is essentially a recolored track Viper that originally came with the Cobra Hiss 2 from 1989. Now, the track Viper is just a typical G.I. Joe construction with an O-ring. You got ball neck, and he has orange pants with silver boots and silver knee pads. He's got a knife holstered on his left leg going across his boot to his thigh. He's got a orange waist with a solid color belt, so everything's orange there, no paint apps. But then we have a black torso with orange highlights, so he's got orange essentially epaulets similar to, let's say, the Iron Grenadiers. He's got for lack of a better term, a singular suspender that goes from his right hip over his left shoulder and then back down to his right, buttocks. And then let's see what else we got. We got black upper arms with orange elbows, and then we have black gloves. He comes with a black version of the Hiss 2 gun, of his pistol that came with the Hiss 2, and it is kind of like a sci-fi futuristic vibe. His head is molded in orange with a silver face mask, and it looks pretty good because it kind of blends in a little of that traditional Viper look with the neon 90s. But the one thing that is unique about the Nitro Viper is he did not come with a file card in the box. So he came bagged all by his lonesome in this bag. So as you can see, it's part number 438854, made in China. So yeah, so this is a Nitro Viper bagged. And the only reason why I kept this guy bagged was, I don't know, I just kept him bagged, even though I built the detonator. So I kept him bagged. But what is a guy to do when he has a bagged Nitro Viper that he won't open? Well, he goes and buys a second Nitro Viper. So yeah, so this guy's got a little bit of play, only because silver paint typically with GI Joe tends to wear pretty easily. So I wanted to get one that had a little bit of play wear. So we got one with a little bit of knee wear, and that's cool. So now I got one with light play. He's got a pretty good O-ring, which is probably due for replacement, but I'm going to make it work. And so I got my Nitro Viper for the detonator. So the other thing about the Nitro Viper is he didn't come with a file card, right? The Nitro Viper actually got a fan-made file card in Action Figure News and Toy Review. And this is the official convention issue, Joe Price Guide. And this is from 1994. And it had a schedule of events for the 1994 International G.I. Joe Collectors Convention. So August 21st, 1994. So there's a lot of cool things in there. Now you see them, now you don't. You got a whole bunch of unproduced 1995 figures in toys. So it's pretty cool. You got, this magazine's worth picking up just for that. But the big thing is we got, if you can see, you got the file card. So the code name, Nitro Viper. File name, identities unknown. Primary military specialty, detonator driver. Secondary military specialty, demolition expert. Cobra detonators are the new elite tanks of the Cobra Armed Forces. They feature the latest in laser targeting, computer global positioning, and smart missile technology, conceived in Destro's armaments factories. The competition among track Vipers to become operators of the detonator is intense. Prospective Nitro Vipers are required to exhibit their ruthlessness by blowing up video game arcades and amusement parks. Nitro Vipers enjoy blowing things up so much that other Cobra Troopers and Vipers give them a wide berth. Their motto, if it stands, we can knock it down. So one good thing I like about this file card is the fact that it talks about the track Viper. So we get a little bit of in-universe continuity for the Nitro Vipers reuse of mold. And the file card was penned by 3 3/4 collector Michael Livanos. So, and was, sanctioned by Hasbro. So that's cool. It's in the 1990 and the 82 to 94 run. This is the only essentially official fan-made file card. So that's really cool. So that gets us through the figure. And the figure itself, is he cool on his own? In the 90s way, yeah. But for a vehicle guy, he's got a pistol. So it's almost a full-fledged figure. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy for the Nitro Viper. I'm happy I have 2 of them. And it almost makes me wonder if the Nitro Viper, because it does mean that they are a force, are they only drivers or are they a force unto themselves? It mentions that they are demolitions experts. So were they trained by Firefly in the art of demolitions? Could they support with eels? Because eels are also demolitions. So I think the Nitro Viper could be useful in other areas besides just piloting the detonator. Stick him in your favorite Cobra Rat. But maybe not that. but, you know, throw them on a ferret to get in and out, stick them in a Hiss 2. They would actually look pretty good side by side with a track viper. You know, could almost be like a training run or something. Like they could be training track vipers. The Nitro Viper, is, like I said, it's very orange. And we'll go on to the next thing, which is going to be the detonator itself. So yeah, so this is a top view of the detonator, and we're just going to go to the side view a little bit. There we go. So yeah, so you can see the detonator. You can see mine doesn't have the stickers applied. And remember, my package was water damaged. So we're going to just show you the sticker sheet right here. I probably can get to Rattler Repros or something. But yeah, you see this here, that is the catalog for 1993. So yeah, so it's stuck. And if you're wondering why, yeah, you see that brown stuff? Yeah, that's not good. So these are the old paper stickers. I'm not really a fan. I prefer the clear stickers. And because it's all stuck together, that's why I didn't use them. But yeah, so you got the foam rockets, you got the blue chassis, and then you got the orange missiles. So yeah, so this is the main page of what we're looking for with the Cobra Detonator. So from the blueprints, we only got like 8 points to talk about. We have number 1, pointing to the big missile, 3 long-range impact exploding ICBM rockets. So ICBMs, if we know what ICBMs are from the Rolling Thunder, and we know that the Rolling Thunder's ICBMs are actually really big. They have the multiple missiles inside. They're also very plastic. These missiles are foam. So they are meant to shoot from far away when you push down on that air bladder and fire. And it works to me as an ICBM, right? I can see that. I can imagine that. I can bring myself back to when I was 13. And if I had this new and launching it across the room at, you know, my Constructs built G.I. Joe headquarters, or maybe even the 1992 headquarters, which had come out the year before. But the other thing we can talk about is, you know, in the box, it talked about taking out enemy planes. So I can see that with a friend. You got a friend flying around in a Conquest or let's say a Locust. You know, you can stop and try to hit the plane at the same time. Most likely, you're going to try to hit your friend with this. Let's be honest, or your younger or older brother, if you wanted to annoy them. And then I'll also say this about the foam missiles is typically if you're finding this toy on eBay, the foam missiles, if they are there, if the foam hasn't deteriorated away, the stickers are generally gone from the foam. So in 2026 terms, that's not a good sign for longevity of play with this toy. And I'm just going to say that out loud. And it said that this was anti-air missiles. And that's harder for me as an adult now to see in my mind, but the ICBM thing totally works. The other thing is it does elevate. It elevates, it goes straight across. And, you know, it works pretty good for that. So number 2, we have the front command cockpit holds 3 Cobra figures. Switch over here. So this is the front command cockpit right here. I'm going to just pop off the missile for a second. And then you get the insert that doesn't really show it on the box. But yeah, so here's the missile. So we got the front command cockpit right here. So you fit 1 driver up front, and then you got 2 guys on each side. Kind of like sitting in an old 90s McLaren. We get to number 3. We get the middle platform. The middle battle platform seats 2 Cobra figures. So we're talking about this area right here behind the missile. So yeah, so you can see it better that way right there. And for all those listening to the audio version, I'm trying to describe it as best I can. But yes, this is a dual purpose podcast now, trying to get a little more video to go with the audio. So I hope I'm describing this adequately. If not, feel free to complain when you put in your entry for the books. So number 4, we get the air-powered rocket blaster launching gantry. So that's basically describing this part right here that also elevates up and down. So you got the pivot right there. Number 5, we got the double-barreled AAK anti-aircraft gun. I'm not sure why it's called the AAK, but that's this guy right here. So it rotates with that, with a little geared arrangement. I'm actually a big fan of the geared arrangement. I think that works really well. It's almost like the way it envision it as your character is moving their cockpit rather than moving their head like in an Apache, like they have the targeting sights into their helmet. This is kind of like you're swiveling the whole cockpit. In my 40s, that might make me nauseous, but if I'm a Cobra trooper in my early 20s and, maybe my early 30s, might work out. We get number 6, the rotating gunner's targeting seat with AAK gun. So the AAK gun is this here molded in silver. You got this nice little like hose attachment there. And then next to it is the cockpit for the gunner. Number 7, the 6 all-terrain puncture-proof monster tires. So so we're going to go back to the side real quick. So that's these hefty boys right here, the 6. And then finally we get to number 8, the side-mounted double-barreled 50mm Dragon Fire gun, which is actually in the front. So that's right here. So we got this silver plastic right there. So overall, what they don't mention this really ugly, debris guard bull bar, just to get better video and stuff on this. So yeah, it doesn't mention this ugly thing. This is really cool because you can put your G.I. Joe figures right in it. So sorry, Ronnie. So here's, dial tones caught into it. It's a good thing. They can sit up front too, but most likely it's going after and it's piercing them and getting them pretty good. So that's one feature that I wish they mentioned in the blueprints. But you have the gun here. It looks pretty good. The base is a clamshell design, so you had 2 pieces of blue plastic that snapped in place. And it snapped in place because underneath this handle right here is an air bladder where you push it down and it shoots air into this, which ejects the foam hose. Now, here's the problem with mine. Remember, I did build this new. The box was sealed. This was a sealed contents box. And you got, your silver clips right here for the foam missiles. But the problem is somewhere in between this black hose here, which transmits the hose, it's kinked right here. I don't know if I can catch that, but it's kinked right here. And it was like that when I opened it. It comes through this hole right here. And I don't know if I'll ever get it to be able to take this apart again. It's kind of like one of those things is once you assemble it, it'll never come back apart. I probably could do this, but it's blue plastic, which tends to stress. But for whatever reason, it's blowing air. I don't know. Let's try it. It's been a while since I tried it, but and I just launched it into my stored Christmas trees. So win, because I couldn't get to do it when I built this 2 years ago. But anyway, I'll take that as a win, and I'm going to have to get it because that was a nice gentle push. But I'm going to try to get some other features right here on camera. And we do have some great detailing in the cockpit. And because it's 2-piece construction, they can get a little more detail than what they normally would do. You got a little sprue mark right here, but that's, is what it is. And then we have other things. We got a good cockpit view here. We don't have any controls for the characters, but we do have some nice diamond plate for their feet. We have 2 foot pegs right here in front of this. So you can fit another character or 2 in here. So let's populate. While we're talking about the detonator, we might as well populate the detonator. So, so I got my Nitro Viper. I'm going to put him in the driver's seat. That's the only bad thing about having a pistol is like you got to hide it. but he can go there. And then who's going to be like, you need a commander. So typically this would be like Cobra Commander would be like, a field commander. But I'm thinking today it's going to be Night Creeper Leader. He's going to be the guy. So I don't know. Let's see. I'll put him in, let's say, like what I would say. He's a nice backseat driver on the left side. And then really everybody else, I think, is support element. Like you could put a Techno Viper back here. You could put, I don't have a 94 Techno Viper. That's on my list for Joe Fest. But, if you want more air superiority, we can put got my Flak Viper right here. Nice and orange. He blends in well. It doesn't fit with his backpack. But I will say, Flak Viper is a standout among 1993. So he's just going to hang out on the back. Because guess what? There's more foot pegs on the back bumper. And he's not sticking it really well today. He's hanging up. You can always have a Cobra Viper, 94 Cobra Viper. He can go in here. He's going to hang out right over here. And then we got another standout from the 90s is the Alley Viper. And he's going in back because he has a backpack. So, and then what's one other guy I can care about? And, let's just put Dial Tone back in the he's dead spot. And then we know another trooper we got is the Incinerator, but the Incinerator is going to he's going to hang out. He's going to be the guy in the gunner seat. He's taking a break from that Geneva Convention stuff. But overall, with the detonator, we have room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you got 8. So you got eight places before you get to the back bumper. And you have 6 pegs on the back bumper. So you could legitimately fixture 8 Cobra on this before you get to, impaling Joe's on the front bumper. The other thing to note is, like, again, so we'll move back and do the details. So I'm going to lower the main cannon just because I just don't want these guys rattling around all the time. We got, some engine detail right here on the top in front of the main, pusher. We got some details over the fenders. We got some, just nice little hatches that are molded in, just a lot of, texture to this toy. Even though it's monocolor, it works. I wish, like I said, I want to put the decals on. I might have to look for a decal sheet because that one is just, is what it is, right? But there's one other feature about this that I love, and we're going to get to the rear bumper hitch. And because on the Chaplain Smart Pod, we celebrate even the trailers of the G.I. Joe toy line. We're going to put on, so for those for just listening in, I'm trying to get my Cobra Asp onto the trailer. And the trailer portion, and it doesn't work. So we have a small failure. I'm looking for another Cobra towable. So you guys are going to have to use your imagination watching the video, and you're going to have to use your imagination for listening in. So I don't have my Cobra MMS set up downstairs. I only have it upstairs in my Camp Jellystone. So I attached the Hawk missile system from 1983 on the back of it, and it works kind of. It's a little low. So if there is a criticism of the detonator, is the tow hitch is too low. Try to get it there. So what can I say? The Cobra Detonator, folks. So now we're back down to really how would I play with this? So I kind of touched on that earlier. So for me, this is a vehicle that storms the G.I. Joe or the Peacekeeping Nation or whatever. This rams into this. You got your large missiles to soften it up. I mean, this is really like a missile tank. It's kind of like an air powered, Wolverine from 1983. This thing I treat this gentle because, again, the foam. So that's how I play with it. This is like an assault vehicle. It starts out as artillery. You got 3 missiles, soften up the target, boom. And then it comes trundling in. And who do you man this? Well, I'm thinking you need like the box art shows Cobra Commander, right? And we love Cobra Commander. We think he's the best. However, I don't think this is a Cobra Command weapon. I think Cobra Stun, which is like kind of a chariot-ish thing. Cobra Commander belongs in the back of a hiss, in the turret of the hiss 1 or hiss 2. This would be what my memories are of this toy is from the media. This was used in the G.I. Joe comic book in the 140s and 150s. Notably is 149 when Snake Eyes storms the Silent Castle. He takes out the crew single-handedly, of course, it's Snake Eyes, of the detonator, and they're all dead. And then he gets in, and then he uses it to blow open the Silent Castle, Destro's castle. He puts it in an autopilot, goes right in, and then he sneaks in behind, and then proceeds to like get to the final confrontation. Is 149 is he's facing Cobra Commander because you demanded it, and because you demanded it, the next issue, Larry Hama is going to tell you how silly you were for demanding it. So think about that. If you're thinking about all those awesome Super 7, matchups like the Cobra Commander as Ninja Force, Larry Hama kind of answered that question. But yeah, so this is like an assault vehicle. You soften it up, and it goes in behind. Who commands it? Well, obviously you got the Nitro Viper in the cockpit, and then I put like a mid-tier Cobra, like Night Creeper leader in like the command section. Other Cobras of that era you could use would be Crimson Guard Immortal. You could use Dr. Mindbender, especially the 93 Minder. He's my man. So Destro would go well. 1991 Destro would serve well in the cockpit of this. I do believe you need like a Techno Viper to be like, just somebody in there with it. And then you just fill it out with, Cobra troops and Cobra Vipers. So the detonator does have a place on the battlefield in my mind. Now we get to flaws and stuff. You just got to be careful about the bladder. I thought mine had a leak earlier in the podcast, and I was like getting ready to watch this. It's not going to work. Then it worked. So happy accidents. That's what happens, because sometimes I'd like to play with my toys during the podcast, and sometimes I don't touch these for 2 years. This has been sitting underneath this podcast station, just chilling out, not even collecting dust, which amazingly, I didn't have to dust this too much to get into prime shape. It does need some decals though. I would say, who needs to collect the detonator? Completionists, obviously, we don't need to talk about those. 90s kids, if you love the 90s, if you were of that age group, 1993, I was 13 going on 14. So this is right up your alley. If you want to have vehicles that were in the comic book, boom, it's in the comic book. It has a presence. It has a presence. I will give it that. How many would I own? Well, I only own the one. I only want the one. It's kind of big. It's kind of, I wouldn't call it a centerpiece, right? I would call this just like a large vehicle. And the other thing too, in 2026 is these foam things. You don't want to beat them up too much. So it turns into a display piece where you got the foam missile and you don't want to crinkly up. So if you got it displayed, it looks good mint and you don't want to beat it up. It's nice. It's just a nice little, vehicle. And just like, one thing, you do have the slats, kind of like the Mean Dog up front, that the Nitro Viper can see out of. Get it in there. So yeah, this is a one and done. I'm happy I got one. I'm glad I bought it mint in box. I will tell anybody that, you know, sometimes the best way is to find that crappy box toy and then buy the toy inside and then build it. And coming soon will be, I'll post on social media. The next vehicle I review will be a live stream for building, and then we'll go into, and then I'll go offline and then do a recording, much like I'm doing this. I'm experimenting. I'm trying new things. I'm trying to do something once a week until Joe Fest. What would I rate this big honker? Scale 1 to 5, ICBMs. Yeah, 1 to 5 ICBMs. This is, let's see. It's big. It makes a statement. It's not for everybody. You know, 82 to 85, 82 to 87, 88 collectors, they're not going to want this. But if you're a 90s kid, you're going to want this. It doesn't fit in a figure. You know, this isn't something that you could display with your figures. Like if you have all figure collections, like you can't just put it behind like a claw or a ferret. So it kind of limits it. So overall in a rating as a toy, which I love toys because I think, you know, having an action feature, I like action features. That's going to be a little bit of a theme for the next couple of weeks too. It's just hard. I want to rate this higher because I like it. I like holding it. I like playing with it. I like the impact. So that's going to, because I have it and because I built it, I have some good memories. I launched a Missal today. I'm going to give this a 3. 3 ICBMs out of 5. So it's good. It's above average. It's not for everybody, but it's part of the G.I. Joe lexicon, and I'm happy to include it with my G.I. Joe stuff. So that concludes this Missal for the Masses. That concludes the Chaplain System Motor Pod for this Missal number 113. 3. So I'm your host, Gary. Thanks for listening. You can find me again on social media at Chaplain Joe Pod. Email chaplainjoepod@gmail.com. Find me on YouTube if you're listening to the audio. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, I've got plenty of audio only content that goes back almost about 5 years now, on the backside. So there's plenty of audio only content that's available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Podcasts, was on the Google Play Store, Good Pods. So you got audio only there. Again, don't feel free to reach out if you would like to put your hat in the ring for a signed After Action Report TNA book, and hope to hear from you soon. Casey will be back in Avengers Doomsday. And with all of that said and done, one final Missal for the Masses: be decent to one another. Have a good night or day.